Hope's not a strategy. Hopium doesn't work. People today are listening to podcasts more than ever. People are making money from podcasts more than ever. You can reach audiences you would never be able to reach before. You can build relationships. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. You've got to understand how important and powerful it is to build relationships this way.
Welcome to the Thought Leader Revolution with Nicky. Join the revolution. There's never been a better time in history to speak your truth, find your freedom, and make your fortune. Each week, we interview the world's top thought leaders and learn the secrets of how they built a 6 to 7 figure practice. This episode has been brought to you by eCircleacademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I'm your host, Nicky. Boy, do we have an exciting episode lined up for you today. Today's episode is Thought Leader Nuggets, number 96. And what are we talking about today? But how to scale your coaching business beyond $250,000 with a little-known podcast guesting strategy that sells. How cool and exciting is that? It's super cool and exciting. Here's the facts. Most people who go and are guests on someone else's podcast never monetize it. Never. They don't know how to. They go on someone's show. They have a great conversation. They have a fabulous time. The host tells them how amazing they were, but they don't monetize it. Why? Well, first and foremost, they don't actually have a strategy and an outcome and a desire and an intention to do so. So I'm telling you right now that if you don't have that strategy, that outcome, that desire, that intention to monetize your podcast guesting appearances, and you're just going on shows thinking, I'm going to go on shows, people are going to hear me, and someone's going to contact me, that's called hope for marketing. You're hoping that someone's going to contact you and that you're going to get a client. And hope's not a strategy. You know who said that? The great General George S. Patton, America's greatest fighting general of the 20th century. Hope's not a strategy. Hopium doesn't work. You know what works? An actual strategy. So first, the intention must be there that I'm going to go on a show and I'm going to actually get business from being on the show. So how do you get business from being on the show? Well, first and foremost, you need to have a signature narrative that you've developed. You can't just go on the show and talk about anything. So you need an opening that allows you to connect with the audience and connect with the host. The host has got to think, wow, what a good bloke. What a good blokette. That's what they got to believe as a result of that opening. You've got to tell them a story in such a powerful way that they're going to absolutely love it. Secondly, you've got to have a series of very powerful points that you make on that podcast episode. And you got to make those points in a way that speaks to the aspirations and the pains of the people that are listening. You got to speak to the aspirations and the pains of the people that are listening. And it's your job to make your host look good. You can't be there just to make you look good. You got to do such a good job that the host looks like a rock star for bringing you on the show. Okay, that's super, super, super important. If you come on a show, you need to also understand that you're taking advantage of the power of podcasting. Let's face it. People today are listening to podcasts more than ever. People are making money from podcasts more than ever. And you might think to yourself, oh my God, I don't want to do my own podcast. It takes too much energy, too much time. I don't want to do it. I get it. I understand. But you know what you can do? Let me tell you what you can do. What you can do is you can go be a guest on someone else's show where you don't need to have technical know-how or a producer or like consistency. You just need to show up, and you need to have done your homework on how to do a great job on that show. How to really wow your host and wow the audience. That's all you got to do. I mean, through this, you can reach audiences you would never be able to reach before. You can build relationships with hosts, and people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I mean, I think the most incredible thing about being on shows is it's an opportunity to develop a business relationship with somebody from scratch over a half an hour to an hour period. I mean, that's what makes guesting so incredible. If you're not taking advantage of podcast guesting, you're leaving over $250,000 on the table. You know, in 7 months, I've generated over $300,000 in revenue from podcast guesting. If you're not podcast guesting and you don't know how to do it right, and you haven't understood the power of building relationships through podcast guesting, you are leaving money on the table. My friend, don't do that. Don't leave money on the table. Take advantage of podcast guesting. You've got to understand how important and powerful it is to build relationships this way. And once you've done that, I'm telling you, you can create for yourself an engine that'll generate 6 figures for you in 6 months or less. I'm not saying you will, but you can. I've done it. I've cracked the code. And if you want to find out how it's possible for you to do the same, if adding 6 figures to your business in the next 6 months would be valuable, if adding, enough income to get you to over $250,000 a year in income would be valuable, then we need to talk. Come and have a moment to apply, to get on the phone with me. I'm only going to talk to you if you're a serious business person. You got to apply. And if the application form, it all goes well, I'll keep the appointment. If it doesn't, I'll cancel it. But you apply, and let's get the ball rolling to help you succeed and make 2023 your best year yet. All right, that wraps up another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution, Thought Leader Nugget number 96. If you enjoyed it, leave us a rating, a like, a review, and share it with somebody else who needs to hear this message. Until next time, goodbye.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.